Hello and welcome to Low Carb Conversations. I'm your host, Leah Williamson, and I'm with my host, Holly Barrett. Welcome, Holly.
Hi, Leah.
Hello. Oh, I call you Holly Jean too also. So,
okay. I go by many names.
Many names. Well, it's our co-host episode. I feel like we always say this. I feel like we haven't spoken in ages, but it does feel like that. And it's like in the depth of winter here for me. I am like so cold in my local areas, freezing and for us, which basically means it's a little less sunnier compared to other places. It's like always warm here, and then when it gets cold for 1 week during winter, we'll like have to change from wearing our flip-flops to our sneakers.
do you guys wear Uggs?
Yeah, we do wear Uggs. Yeah,
everyone here wears Uggs. I just wasn't sure if that was a thing there or
around the house. They're house shoes. They're not outside shoes.
Oh, they are a fashion statement.
No way. My son calls them ugly boots.
So does my husband.
Yeah.
And that's how they got their name.
That's right. And Holly is in summer, so it's pretty nice for you. What's been going on, Holly? Anything exciting?
Yes, actually some very exciting stuff. My husband has decided to push us full throttle into the world of beekeeping. He went out and bought us a beehive. He purchased before researching. And so now I am learning all things about bees. And apparently you don't just buy a hive and get some bees. There's a lot that goes into it. But I've connected with some local beekeeper associations here, and I've already found a person in my area who's going to mentor us. I have a bee suit, and we are going to be receiving a swarm of bees.
You have to separate it from when the queen, you have to do it at some point, don't you, to separate the hive and bring it across. There's like all this finer detail into beekeeping, isn't it?
There is a lot to learn that there's so much to learn. I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah. And
but we go to our first association meeting on Monday. They meet once a month. So.
Oh, exciting. Yeah. I think you got to wait at one point till there's something happening and with the queen, because, you can only have one queen in the hive and and separated at that particular point in time.
Well, anyway. I did learn that sometimes when a swarm when a hive gets too big, it does create another queen, and that's when they'll break off, and that's why a lot of these swarms are actually an established hive that has broken off from the queen to start a new colony.
There you go. All the things, but then you'll have honey.
We will have honey, and all of us have allergies here, which we've never had before, but there is just so much grass and trees and
too much fresh air.
Too much fresh air and nature around here. And so we all have allergies. And so I'm excited to just have it doesn't get any more local than from your backyard honey.
Yeah.
So we could start taking honey kind of as a way to prevent allergies.
That's cool. Do you have your bees are the stinging kind of bees? In Australia, our native bees don't sting.
Really?
Huh. Yeah, they're little and small. We have the regular bees that sting. But
well, that's funny since I feel like everything in Australia can kill you.
Yeah, except for bees.
Except for bees. It's like we have a jellyfish so tiny you can't see it, but it will kill you if it stings you, but our bees won't sting you.
Yeah. That's
okay. Right. Got it.
And how's the housing market going? You've been selling some houses?
Yeah, it's actually slowed down a little bit, which is nice because it was getting a little bit crazy over here, but now is actually people are able to breathe a little bit in the market. And if you're shopping, it's not, you have to decide without even looking at it and throw all your money at it. so that's good. Maybe not so good for the sellers, but it's definitely more beneficial for the buyers right now.
That sounds nice. Well, I've just been, keeping rugged up for winter and playing my crystal sound bowls. Been getting into my women's circle. We've been exploring the chakras. So it's a little bit different kind of stuff from me, but I'm getting ramped up and ready for low carb down under, which is on the Gold Coast here in Australia in October. So the tickets have just gone on sale. So if you're an Australian listener and you want to get to low carb down under, head over to their website. Tickets are on sale. And I've just been like, I'll be organizing the vendors and the poster displays and the catering, making sure it's low carb. Last time we did it, which was like before the pandemic, so I think it was like 2019, we picked the best menu, and it was like self-serve, and there was like lots of cold cut meats and salads, and everything was low carb. They did an awesome job. And then right at the end, they just stuck like a big bread basket. And I was like, I walked in there to inspect the food, i.e. get my plate before everyone else came in. And I was like, no, remove that bread. And it was so funny because the crowd was breaking and they were starting to walk into the door. And at the same time, I've got like this bread baskets I'm throwing onto these trolleys and sending the people back out the door. Get this bread away from this section.
It would be so scandalous if people just see you with bread under your arms running. They're like,
people are so funny. Oh, and it's so funny though, because they'll stand there and they'll pick at the food. I was like, oh, can't believe it's a low carb conference and they put a muffin on here. And it's like, I think people should realize you don't actually get a lot of choice. And for any place to even, help out to some extent is like really unique and quite amazing. So if the worst is some bread baskets that we can just easily throw off, then I think we're doing all right. But
I know, but it would have been really fun to leave the bread baskets out there and see who's willing to be brave enough to take a piece of bread at the low carb conference, because not everyone's all low carb all the time.
That's right. The funny thing is, on the Sunday we never put lunch on because a lot of the fasting talks on, and so like people will just fast through from breakfast, so the food was always never touched, so we don't put lunch on a Sunday because of that reason. So
it's funny. See, all of these things are perfect examples of how social pressure dictates behaviors, social expectations.
One year, one of the speakers gave a talk on fructose and how bad that was. And there was some fruit out on the table and it didn't get touched. No one touched it because break was straight after that. I was like, I'm not afraid of eating a few raspberries after that talk. Come on.
Yeah. I will say that I have been eating frozen cherries, like frozen organic cherries, like you would buy for a smoothie, like candy lately. I don't know why, but they are my jam right now. I love them. And I don't regret that. And I baked sourdough bread today.
Oh, nice. Sounds good.
Balance.
From scratch. Balance.
Yes.
All right. Well, I've been making lots of stews because it is being so cold here. So I've been enjoying that. All right, let's get into
it.
Previous podcasts that we've had, the last 3. So we started off with episode 478 with Dr. Mindy Salvino. Holly, that was you by yourself. So how about you tell us about that podcast and what it was about?
Yes. So Dr. Mindy, she's actually a local naturopath here in Tulsa, and she has some really interesting therapies in her office, which is what inspired me to reach out to her, because she specializes in doing ozone treatments and Rife treatments, specifically for parasites, Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr, but she's really specializes in helping people get to the root cause of their issues by balancing pH within the body. So we talked a lot about pH and digestion and how the acidity of your body is important for keeping pathogens at bay, and how once the pH gets thrown off, then that makes it the perfect place for opportunistic pathogens to get in and take over. So that was our conversation with Dr. Mindy, and she actually is just opening her own practice that's like a wellness collective. So it's like all sorts of different healers, different people with modalities and stuff all under one roof. So it's like a little wellness mecca. So I'm really excited to go check that out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And I love that too. It's like, it reminds me back to like our nutritional therapy studies. And it's like, is it the actual parasite or whatever it is, or is it the terrain that is causing the problem? And that's what we do a lot of work as nutritional therapy practitioners too, is like getting that terrain right so that you don't have anything wanting to live there.
Right. So it's like, yes, you may have this parasite, you may have this problem, but why? Get into that root cause.
Definitely. All right, so that's episode 478. And then we went on to 479, which was Bryce Henson Fit Body Bootcamp. I missed that one too. And I know Bryce is right into his fitness. So Holly, tell us about that one.
Yeah, this was actually a really fun and inspiring and motivational conversation because Bryce, he was talking all about how fitness and exercise impacts our mind and our energy and our confidence and the way we show up every day, and how fitness and nutrition go hand in hand. And when you're exercising more, you're feeling better. So you're making better nutritional choices. When you're eating better, you have the energy to want to go out. So they go out and exercise. So they kind of are that catch-22. But then he takes the conversation further by saying, when you're showing up for yourself on your plate, when you're showing up for yourself in the gym, that spills over to other areas of your life. You don't just excel in one area and suck at everything else. That showing up, that doing the work, that motivation, that dedication, that spills over into other areas of your life. And so he's talking about how fitness or exercise can be used to boost your confidence, change your life from a health standpoint, but also it's the gateway to success.
Yeah, that sounds so good. So check that one out, episode 479, Bryce Henson. And then episode 480, this is the last one that's out, the ripped grandpa, Sean Hadsell. So Sean's like, specializes in all the different things to lose weight, get healthy, get fit for people that are in their later years. So their older years, which we'll say later years, 40s, 50s, 60s.
Those are the mid years.
The best years of your life. He definitely seemed very fit and with it for his age. Definitely. So whatever he's doing is working really well. And we talked about how to develop your own longevity mindset. So it was all talking about like the key to aging well is not some technology or some electronic device that tells you how to age well. It's actually more to do with your beliefs and your mindset and your fitness and your nutrition and all of the whole lifestyle picture that Holly and I talk about all the time.
Yes. So, and I was looking for a quote that he said that I wanted to share because it just kind of stuck with me. But he said, when he was talking about like motivation and stuff and how to achieve longevity, he said, God made the worms and the birds, but he didn't go around and dump the worms in the nest. We have to take action and put effort into getting what we want.
Nice. Yeah. So true, isn't it?
That one.
Can't just sit back and let it, just expect it to happen.
No, as much as we would like it to.
That's right. So that was episode 480, Sean Hadsell, the ripped grandpa. All right. So they're the previous episodes. Go back and check them out. And today we've got we've got an article to share, but we've also got some little different kind of, I want to call this section, Holly, Ask Leah and Holly, or Holly and Leah. Dear Holly and Leah, I've got a problem with XYZ. Can you help? So I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, so this actually really just came about because Leah and I were having a conversation about people who ask health-related questions in social media forums. Where the people who are in those, they're not even necessarily health forums. It might be your local mom group, or it might be your neighborhood app or something. It's just you're putting out a question related to your health to a group of random strangers, essentially. And I read one the other day, and it just had the most ridiculous responses, and probably like over 100 responses that were all over the spectrum of just crazy things to like crazy advice to give to a stranger who you know nothing about their lives,
All
their
their
health
history.
history or anything. So it got us wondering, one, what kind of people just go on and ask these questions? But two, obviously there are people out there that have questions about health and are looking for answers. And we know that everybody at some point or another goes to Dr. Google. And so maybe the next step after Dr. Google is to go to a forum if you do not have a trusted doctor or friends or a circle to ask. And so it came about as me kind of poking fun and not necessarily shaming someone, but it did kind of come from a place of maybe that wasn't the kindest of heart for me. But I now realize people are looking for answers for things. And so we could help. And I think we want to point out when you are asking questions online that are vague, or even if you write 12 paragraphs explaining your whole situation, it's not enough to just find the answer online, because there are so many things that are follow-up questions. And so we want to just give examples of questions that people have asked and what our structure would be for digging deeper and kind of looking for that root cause. But first, we did find an article, of course, because that's what we do. And this one is called, "Can You Trust Social Media for Health Advice?" And really, this is talking about how, yes, you can find some reputable advice or even like holistic, non-data backed tips, like from maybe just like folklore, things that have worked for people. You can find that stuff on social media, and it doesn't make it necessarily good or bad, but it may just not pertain to you, or it might be out of context. And but it'll also be a good starting point for information and an entryway for starting conversations with your doctor or your primary care physician. I know for one, I've been in health situations where I couldn't find the answers, and I've gone to doctors and just was getting the runaround there. And I have asked friends, and they've said things that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before. And so it gives you something to go look into, because I really do feel in this day and age, we do need to be our own health advocates. I know it can be super annoying for doctors when patients come in and say, "I have this, this, and this," because they're like, "Well, what am I here for?" But I do think that we need to take responsibility and accountability for our health. And so this article brings that up as well.
One thought I had there, sorry, one thought I had there while you were just talking about that is, I think that, now I just gone blank. Sorry. I just totally forgot what I was going to say. I think, sorry, you know, in looking at the forums and stuff, there has been some good things that forums are good for, in terms of, like, you know, when you think back to when you're first become a mum and we don't have that tribe or people around us anymore, and you ask questions. So I think that it's normal now. It's being normalized to ask these questions online, was what I was thinking while you were doing that. And now I guess it's just shifting over to nutrition as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask any questions online. I mean, I've, like you said, found my tribe when I was a mom. And so, yes, it has carried over into nutrition. I think we get into kind of muddy waters when we're reaching out and asking questions about health related stuff in the neighborhood watch page.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
this is my community page and I'm asking about a rash. Yeah.
Right. But that aside, we just want to address the fact that if you have questions and you're taking them to the forums, as practitioners, we're looking at it through the lens of, we're taking these questions that people are asking, we're pretending they're coming to us as practitioners, and we're going to answer them as we would if this were a client in our office and coming to see us for the first time. So that's putting this whole thing into context. And so this article talks about it. It's a pretty good article, but let's just dive in to the question.
Yeah, go. Would you like me to read? Hang on. Should I read the question out to you like we're doing a thing?
Okay, sure.
Should I? Okay. Dear Holly, I know someone suffering from extreme joint pain, probably arthritis, and very bad inflammation, like the muscles are tense and tight, lower back, etc. Wanting to stop ibuprofen, it's not helping anyways. What is the best thing we can use for inflammation and joint pain? Thank you. I tried to
Okay.
use it as
All
the
right.
exclamation. Thank you.
Dear reader, I would like to first ask. Okay, we'll stop being silly. So automatically, my very first question is, well, what is your diet like? Because my computer is doing something funky. We know that what we eat can have a direct. I'm sorry, I just lost my screen.
We're losing everything today.
Well, I know. I don't know. Like something just popped up
Well,
on my screen and I don't know how to get rid of it. Okay, it's gone. I can carry on now. We know that what we eat can have a direct impact on how our body feels, especially if we're eating things where maybe we have unknown allergies or something that is going to cause inflammation, that is going to cause joint pain. What would be your first question here, Leah? What would be the things you want to know first off to this person?
I'm the same. I would like to know what their diet is like because yeah, definitely. Like I know many people, gluten, that's a big one, and dairy, that's another one that definitely cause inflammation. Or are they eating lots of processed food? That's definitely going to cause inflammation as well. Like I'd also want to know their age as well.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So
Are we
this is
talking about a
very basic
20-year-old
stuff.
here or an 80-year-old here?
Right, right. Where online, people are just going to automatically start giving advice, not knowing this stuff. Now, I did later find out that this person does not consume dairy and they consume very little sugar. So my follow-up question there would be, what does very little sugar mean to you? Very little sugar to me might mean something very different to what very little sugar means to someone else. And are they considering refined carbohydrates sugar, or when they think of sugar, are they thinking candy and soda? So again, that's another area that's gray, that I would want to ask more questions about. This person also supplements with turmeric and cherries, but not omegas.
Mm-hmm. So I think the other thing too is like, people are going to give them, I guess, advice based on their own experience and their own bias. So when you're going down the list, it's going to be like, well, I tried Dr. Blah Blah's special liquid and that helped me and I've never had a joint pain since. And that person's experience can be totally different to this person's experience, who maybe they just tried, they had a bit of, I don't know, old age inflammation and they took something that had some good antioxidants in it or something for them. I don't even know what's in those mixtures. And then they felt fine. But then this person is completely different to that. So I think that is it like antidotal advice isn't going to work for everybody. So as you're going down the list of things, yeah, I would agree. Diet first, age, and questioning a little bit more about them to know a bit more, which you're not going to get online in a few sentences.
Right, right. And always, as we tend to do, Leah, is always go back to digestion too.
Always,
Where
yeah.
someone who is having digestive issues and joint pain might not always connect the two as being related. But if you're not digesting your food, then your small intestine is not absorbing any minerals because they have not been properly digested. And you're going to be in pain if you don't have the proper vitamins and minerals in your body. Also, stress levels. If you're extremely stressed, then you're going to be excreting minerals at a higher rate than people who are unstressed. And so your body is going to hurt if it doesn't have the building blocks and the tools it needs to properly function.
Yeah, that's so
another
true.
Hydration. Yes, like we forget that we just need to drink some water. Water lubricates our joints. If you are chronically dehydrated, your joints are going to hurt. And ibuprofen is not going to help with that because you need to drink some water.
That's right. I was just thinking about all the things about ibuprofen just then. But one thing I was going to say was what about even just eating good fats and going back to digestion, because fats help lubricate.
Yep.
And so going back to digestion, even if they are eating good fats, maybe then they're not digesting those fats. And there's, as we all know, there's so much to that fat story. Like they may feel like, quite often I find a client says they're eating lots of fat, but is it really good fat? We don't, it could be highly inflammatory fats there. So,
right. And so the whole point here, like to just wrap it up, is yes, people online might have good advice. The advice might be helpful to you, or it might be helpful to someone. But the bottom line is if you're having issues, it's always best to go to a practitioner who can ask these discovery questions to help pinpoint what the problem is. Because I know way too many people, way too many clients, probably all my clients have come to me after they've tried to DIY everything because they think it's going to be easier, or they don't have to pay someone to help them figure it out. And so they spend a bunch of money on supplements, and they do the juice cleanses, and they do the shakes for 30 days, and they do all this stuff trying to solve the problem. And it just costs way more time and way more money, to where if you just go to someone who knows the proper questions to ask in the first place, you can just kind of help pinpoint that and just make the process so much more painless.
Yeah. I think to the other side of that too is, you may pick up some good advice and things to try from people, but like I was saying, it's really just their own things that have worked best for them. So it's always tinged with a bias. And then coming to a practitioner, we're looking at that deeper, level, diving down, asking the questions, trying to find out the why, getting to that root cause, rather than just masking it with things like ibuprofen or a turmeric drink that someone's made that helps short term.
Right. And since you just brought up the ibuprofen again, I would just say, like, when you're taking stuff like that, if you do have some sort of dysbiosis or digestive problems, taking ibuprofen or taking any type of pain medication is going to just further along that digestive problem, which could, let's say the inflammation and the joint pain is related to digestive issues and not getting the proper nutrients and fats that you need. Continuing to take pain medication is just going to make that problem worse and not better.
That's right. And it's just masking something that's just going to come back. So it's temporary. It's never going to be what you're looking for in order to have a solution to whatever it is the problem is. And that's what we're here for, is to really ask those questions and get to that deeper solution.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that was fun, Holly. I think we might do a few more of these, maybe. Yeah. And if any listeners, I was going to say, if listeners want to write into us and ask us a question. It can be anonymous. We'll just keep your name anonymous, and or maybe you've seen something in a forum that really irritates you, and you want us to talk about it, talk through it. Some poor advice that people are being given.
Because we want to discuss and debate and debunk things. So sometimes we do see some really bad and potentially harmful advice out there. So we can talk about that. If you do have a question you'd like to send in, we can ask all the follow-up questions that we would, as if you were a client here in our office. And maybe that could just, sometimes asking the questions can prompt your brain to be like, oh, yeah, maybe I need to do this. And I also, this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I also think one of the benefits to asking questions is when we get responses, I think intuitively our bodies might know. So like if something does like draw you in, or you feel like, oh, that might be it, I think our intuition can kind of help guide down the right path too. But it is helpful to just have the right questions asked in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. I think ultimately we do know what's best. It's just sometimes you also need a practitioner to kind of hold your hand along the way and tell you, and steer you in the right direction so you don't go off track, and help you to reduce that noise so you can listen back into what your body is saying to you.
Yeah, because we do have trouble with that trust factor, right? Trusting, maybe we know, but we just need that confirmation, or we need someone to just be like, yes, cheer us on, you're on the right track.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, that is the end of today's episode. Our theme music is created by Andrew Bowden, and production services are by Kevin Kennedy Spain of Disc of Light Media. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.